Good morning, crafty friends. Happy Tuesday. Let me know that you are seeing me and hearing me this morning because we have had a wild weather day already here in central Iowa. We have been sheltering this morning at Tailored Expressions as the sirens have been going off. Currently, we're all clear, so don't worry. I would not risk my safety to come on the live this morning. Thankfully, the storms are through now. Everything is okay. It was high winds, potential of hail, and big thunderstorm rolled through here. So we got to experience that this morning, our first shelter in our new building. And everybody did great, and we're all doing well. But let me know you're seeing me and hearing me today because I am just a little bit worried that maybe something may be up with our technology side of things with the internet signal this morning. So hopefully all goes as planned, but if not, now you guys know the reason why. Hello. We'll say hi. I can see you guys leaving comments, so that's good. Hi, Rachel. Hello, Nancy up in Minnesota. Hi, Mindy. Donna's here this morning. Robin in rainy Wisconsin. Lauren. Awesome. Well, again, good to see you guys today. Happy Tuesday. It is time for kind of a little something different this week. So typically Tuesdays are new product releases. And today I have one new product for you. And if you are paying attention to the live, then it might be your first time seeing this, or if you participated in Virtual Stamp Joy earlier this spring, this product was part of our early release during Virtual Stamp Joy. So I am super excited to share it with you. I think it is so super cool. I have really enjoyed using it, and I can't wait to incorporate it into more projects now that it's going to be released to all of you. I gotta stop stumbling on my words too. All right, you guys, the other thing we have going on today, besides that one new product, we launched a Memorial Day sale this morning at 9 a.m. So if you wanna see what's part of that Memorial Day sale, you can head to the Tailored Expressions website. You can click on that large banner on the home page, or you can go to sale and then drop down to Memorial Day sale, and that will bring you to a category of red, white, and blue items. So some of these are stamps, dies, stencils, all of the products that you would use on your projects, in addition to some consumable items in red, white, and blue, like enamel dots and glitter cardstock, and you can start stocking up for the 4th of July holiday if you like to make cards, or throughout the year. I know many of you thank service members throughout the year with your cards. And so now's a great time to grab some of those items at a 20% discount while supplies last. So some of those things will sell out likely, and if you get there earlier, you get a better selection. So check that out as well. All right, I'm gonna pop that graphic up onto the screen just so that you can see that, and that will be going through 5/28, which is Tuesday next week at 9 a.m. Central Time, and it started this morning. So it will go through Memorial Day. I'd love to hear if you have Memorial Day plans. I know it's a big, everybody gets the day off, and maybe you're doing a barbecue or spending some time outside. I'd love to hear what your Memorial Day plans are. All right, now we're gonna take a look at some of the samples using this new product that I'm sharing with you today. I thought it would be perfect to launch this with our Memorial Day sale because we're talking about stars and stripes, and what better way to create stripes than with our Easy Strips products. And so we're going to be using those today along with the new product that I'm going to share with you now. So let me move some of this out of the way, and we'll bring these back in as I talk through how our design team created these. The great thing about Easy Strips is they can be used for any occasion, every occasion. And let me pull those in here so you can see. These have been previously released, and we offer these Easy Strips in several different widths. And so we have the 1/8 inch, then you have the 1/4 inch, and the 1/2 inch. So based on the width, it decides how many dies you get or how many strips you get out of one die. So there are 4 of the 1/2 inch, that means 8 of the 1/4 inch, and 16 of the 1/8 inch in those different various dies. And I'll turn this over. You can see that it is all one die and cuts out those strips for you to create those card patterns on your backgrounds. And then it's easy once you have the pattern created to simply pop a sentiment on top or add some other creative details to the background and let that background really be the star of the show. Now, in addition to our 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/8 inch easy strips, we also released our stitched easy strips in the same widths. So you've got 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch with the stitching around the outside. Or in the case of this one, the stitching is straight through the middle because that is just a thin strip of cardstock. And the other ones have stitching around the outside of each of the strips. So that's easy strips. We've had these around for a while. We've done lots of products to go along with them, like our easy strips maps. We're going to be using these today. These are one of my favorite ways to build patterns using the easy strips. And really all these maps do is take the guesswork out of it for you. We've done all of the measuring, all of the centering of the patterns, kind of coming up with the different ideas for the patterns, and they are all pre-printed here for you. You're going to see how easy it is to use them by simply adding a sticker sheet over the top. Then you're not gluing each one of those strips individually into the pattern. So what does this have to do with the new product? Well, I have wanted for a long time a way to add patterns to the strips, to the easy strips. And as we've kind of talked through this in our product development, we went through lots of options. We thought maybe a clear stamp would be easiest. So you would cut your strips and then you would stamp your borders. Well, clear stamps seem to be a little bit flimsier and might be hard to get them perfectly straight on such a long strip. So we kind of said, no, that's not the best option. Then we thought about rubber stamps, individual rubber stamps, but it's hard to see through them. So after you cut your strip, it might be hard to get that perfectly centered each time on your strip. So as we're talking and kind of mulling this over, this is the product that came out of all of our brainstorming and kind of trying to figure out how to make this work. This is the stamp that is now available on the website. It's called Playful Patterns for Easy Strips. And I had a light bulb moment as we were talking. And obviously you cannot see through these dies to line up a pattern. So you have to stamp and then cut your die, not die cut and then stamp. But what these include is around the outside edge of those patterns is the outer line that you're going to use to line up your die. So if I take one of my dies here, just like this, you can see you have the die. Now we're going to take the stamp. Let's do there are 2 different stamps in here, one for 1/4 inch and one for 1/2 inch. So I have the 1/2 inch die right here, and you can see this line that goes all the way around the outside of the stamp lines up perfectly with your die. So all you're going to do is make sure you stamp that entire image with the outline, then you line up your die perfectly inside that outline, and when you cut it, your strips are going to be patterned. Let me show you what I mean. Actually, do I have Whitney? Maybe come back in here if you hear me. I was gonna grab one of our cases where I cut a bunch of these, but this is basically what we are going for. This one is not cut, but you can see that line perfectly around the outside here that I embossed. And then when you take your die, you're simply going to place that die over the top, and it lines up perfectly inside that outer, that outline. And then you're going to tape it down and send that through, and you are going to be left with perfectly die cut patterned strips. Let me show you. This is the card we're going to be making today, and you can see that I stamped and embossed all of these onto different colors of cardstock and then die cut them with the coordinating die. Now you can cut the 1/2-inch strips with either stitched or plain. I did these with the stitched die, so you can see there's also a little bit of texture added with that stitched design around the outside. Thank you, Whitney.
Yes.
Whitney came in and grabbed this for me. I wanted to show you guys then another way that you can store your easy strips is this case that we brought out. This is our Simple Strips Simple Storage for Easy Strips. And it has this insert inside of it where you can separate your different strips by color, however you want to. I know some people might separate it by width and then by color if you have multiple cases. That's an option as well. But you can see lots of these in here that I have already stamped and die cut with those patterns on them. And I just store them in with the different colors. You see what other colors I might have here. That's all I can find. Here's some green. And just super easy to, again, do a bunch of these at the same time. I love embossing them with white embossing powder. I think it makes that pattern really pop. But you can also make it a little easier on yourself if you want to, and you can do tone on the different colors of cardstock. And this is a great way too if you are feeling kind of uninspired or not quite ready to start a full project. Just sit down with your scraps and make a bunch of strips. And then your cards are going to come together that much easier when you're ready to put a full project together. So there's another option for the storage case. Nancy says, I'd love to be able to purchase just the insert for the storage case. I'm not sure why you would want just the insert because you would want to put it in something. So you would need that storage case anyway. So we sell the storage case separately, and then we also sell the storage case with the insert. So if you do have other things you want to store in this other than easy strips, you can buy just the Simple Storage large case, and then you can put all of your other things in here. Cardstock fits in here. You can put ink pads and scissors and maybe a little travel kit if you're planning a project and you want to take it with you. And then the Simple Storage for Easy Strips is specifically for storing the easy strips, or lots of people are using them for their mini ink cubes as well. So that's another thing that fits perfectly inside these little spots. So, Nancy, I'm guessing you said you have the storage cases. My guess is you bought the bundle that included the storage cases but not the inserts. So if you wanted to, you could exchange those for the ones that have the inserts in them. But yeah, that bundle that we originally sold was just for the cases and not for the inserts. Charlie says, I love any reason to strip in my craft room. That's awesome. Yes. Charmaine says I might need to get another one so I use my strips more. Yes, for sure. And Debbie says I use my strips more because of it. Otherwise, my extra strips went into the trash or into a box, out of sight, out of mind. So yes, I think that's a great thing about these cases is that they make it simple and easy to get out and just really specifically have a purpose to make cards using the strips. So take this box with you on a trip, pack some Easy Strips maps in there and some sticker paper, and you have everything you need to create some beautiful backgrounds. So let's take a look at what we have here from some of the design team samples. So this is the one we're going to be making a little bit later, so I'll talk more about that. Obviously with our Memorial Day sale, this is the some of the products that are included on that, and I thought it would be fun to make those strips in the red, white, and blue color combination. So we will get to that in just a little bit, but I made a couple of other cards using some of those products that you'll find in the sale category. So this is our little gnome of the brave. Put him together. He's super cute. And I just used, again, one of those maps to create that background pattern. It leaves the open space in the top corner for whatever imagery you want to put up there. And these are the 1/4 inch strips using the 1/4 inch stamp. So again, if I bring that stamp back, you can see the one on the right has more patterns. There are 8 patterns for the 8 strips. And then this one, there are 4 patterns to cut into 4 strips. So you can kind of use these interchangeably as well. Let me show you a card that Lori Craig created, and she stamped the 1/4 inch strips and cut them with the 1/2 inch die. So in this case, here is what the pattern looks like if you have those 1/4 inch stamps and you cut them out with the 1/2 inch die. You can see it just gives you 2 rows of the pattern down that wider strip. So another way that you can kind of interchange the 1/2 inch, it doesn't work the other way around. You can't use the 1/4 inch die on the 1/2 inch strip or it's going to cut your patterns in half, but it does work to use the 1/4 inch stamp with the 1/2 inch die. Then if you have any baby cards to make, look at this adorable card from Heather Nichols. I love how she embossed in white on the different pastel colors with that Oh Baby script there, and thought that was super, super cute. Love those pretty colors together. And then let's take another look. This one that Heather made is using one of our maps patterns. So she didn't just have to measure all that out and make sure that it lined up perfectly centered. It's already done for you, and you simply build your strips on top of that printed pattern. This is another map that Jill used to create this pretty card, a fun, unique color combination, and this shows you what it looks like to stamp those strips tone on tone. So her pattern doesn't look quite so busy with all of the tone on tone and then some of the white embossed mixed in there. And I think that's really fun option 2 for the strips. Then we've got a couple of rainbow themed cards from Susan. So this one here, she cut several hearts into a piece of sugar cube cardstock and then popped those up on a background of strips that she designed in rainbow order. So she skipped some as well, so they're not all stamped with pattern. So that is fun to do and maybe stretches your stamped strips a little bit farther if you kind of place some non-stamped strips in there as well. And then also, if you can't see this exactly, she has this popped up on top of the strips and gives it some extra dimension over the top of that background, which I think is really fun. Somebody's asking for the colors that Heather used on her baby card. Yes, I can help you with that, Susan. They are mint julep, potato chip, peaches and cream, sprinkles, and I believe that looks like pink champagne and macaron. And I believe macaron is no longer available, so I would replace that with lavender glaze. I think that would be a really pretty option for that. Here's another rainbow card. The easy strips you will find are perfect for rainbow, and Susan created this one with one of our Share Joy envelope seals. So this was something that was released at Stamp Joy but is now available for everyone to purchase. Behind this sentiment that says "Hey there," it actually says Share Joy. However, it's easy to cover up with the various sentiments that you have. If you like the look of those pencils and you want to use that sticker as more of a focal image, here is one fun way to do that. And then last, well, not last, I have 2 more. Here's one more from the Memorial Day sale category of products. I foiled that sentiment, "Have a Star-Spangled Day," and then I foiled a few of my stars, used those strips to create a background, and then cut one of the star stacklets out of it. And then the other stars kind of sprinkled about the background of this card are from the Starstruck die set. So that one is another option. We'll put all of the Memorial Day cards down here in front of me for the sale products. Then last we have this one. I created this rainbow card. It really reminded me of, does everybody remember the days of printed gingham ribbon? I used to have this pattern, this polka dot pattern of ribbon in every single color. And now I thought it would be fun to create this card almost to look like strips of ribbon in the background. It's got that large happy birthday sentiment, and I believe that's from Oh My Word, Happy Birthday. And then we have our enamel dots dotting the background of the sentiment. So really simple and a cute way to do a birthday card. So lots of ideas for that Playful Patterns for Easy strips. And now I'm excited to show you how they work. We're gonna move all these products out of the way. I'd be interested to hear who already has the Playful Patterns for Easy strips, because it was so popular during our early release for Stamp Joy that I'm guessing many of you probably already have it, and hopefully we're showing you some new ideas today for how to use it. So I am going to be using the 1/2 inch pattern, so the one that has 4 patterns on it, and then we're going to cut that out with the 1/2 inch Easy strips stitched. So I'm going to be using the stitched in order to get a little bit more dimension on the project. All right, let's pull in my Misty, which I need my full-size Misty. So hold on just a second. So you do need the regular size Misty. I'll grab my mini Misty just to show you that this stamp is too long to fit in the mini Misty. So there's the stamp, and just a little too large to fit in there. And so we're gonna grab the larger size here, and I'll place that stamp down. And you can do 2 of them side by side. So if you're doing this, that's what I would recommend. You can cut your paper actually in half. So this would be a, I believe, not sure, Whitney cut this, but yes, it is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. So that's just 8.5 by 11 cut in half. And then you can get 2 of these side by side on there. So if you're taking the time to do that, that's probably what I would recommend, just cutting your cardstock in half and then stamping 2 of them on the same piece so you can get the most strips out of your cardstock. We'll pick that up with the lid, and then I am going to grab my blueberry cardstock. The colors I used on my project are blueberry, blue cheese, and cherry pop. I wanted to try blue cheese with this because it's a new color for us since the last time we did patriotic cards. And I really like how that blue cheese fits in with the blueberry and the cherry pop. So another option if you're looking for 2 blues to go together, that was a fun combo. I've got some little, I think, pieces of fuzz in my stamp there. All right, so let's go ahead and get the cardstock. We're going to condition that with our powder tool. That's going to keep the embossing powder from sticking to the spots that we don't want it to stick. I have somebody asking, I believe, sorry if this was from a long time ago, how long are the strips? So it's been a while since we released these, but I think we made them 7.5 inches long. Yes, they are 7.5. Each strip is 7.5 inches long, meaning the stamp is just a little bit bigger to incorporate that outside outline and then the rubber around the outside of that as well. All right, so we've got Versamark ink. And I'll go ahead and stamp that. I'm probably going to stamp it more than once just to make sure I've got that Versamark coverage the way that I want. And we'll go ahead and stamp one more time. Okay, then I have my white embossing powder. And we'll pour that over the top. Again, you do want to make sure that you have stamped and embossed the outer line. It's going to be important because that's how you line up your die. Since you can't see through that die to the pattern, you're going to use that outer edge to line the die up. Okay, I'm going to turn my heat tool on for just a bit here while we heat this up, and then we'll do our die cutting of the strips. Okay, let's use our clean cloth to just buff the powder off. You have to make sure that it is set on the cardstock before you rub over it, or you can rub that embossing powder off. That's just going to bring back the nice, true, intense color of the cardstock, take away that any powder residue that's on there. And then we can bring in the die cut machine. So I did these two ahead of time. We'll go ahead and die cut all of them on the live, just so that you can see that, but I did do these stamped and embossed pieces ahead of time, just to save a little bit of time today. Barbara's asking, will you have the new 32 Olo colors for purchase? We have been talking about that. Yes, they will be available at Tailored Expressions. I'm actually thinking that our shipment is supposed to arrive today. That is what the tracking said yesterday. So if you keep an eye on the Tailored Expressions website, and I'm thinking, you heard it here first, but I'm kind of hoping that we can get the Olos up and ready for you guys to purchase by Thursday when we are live. Kind of a little fun thing about the live this week, Heather is on her way to Tailored Expressions headquarters today, and so she's actually going to do the live video from here. So you will get to see Heather and I together on Thursday, which is exciting. So mark your calendar. It's a good reason to watch when Heather's here. I know she's got a fun project planned, and we'll be talking about some special things only available for a certain group of customers. So you'll want to tune in on Thursday to watch that as well. And you'll get to hear about the Olo markers. I will make an announcement if they are available. So lots of good things to hear about on Thursday this week. Okay, so there you have it. I cut out the blue cheese strips first, and you can see the way we've designed this stamp. It is perfectly aligned for you as long as you line up that background or that die inside of the background outline on the stamp. So we'll do another one here. And actually I said I was going to use the stitch die, and then I grabbed the plain die. So we'll do some of these stitched and some of them not. Okay, there we go. Now you can see what the stitching looks like around the edges of these patterns. If I get it close enough to the camera, hopefully you can see that fun stitch die and how that's incorporated into the die cut part of the design. And then last, we'll go ahead with this one. Line that up just inside that white outline. And then we'll send that through. Okay, so I should have enough strips now to complete my background that we're going to be making today. And then I cut these ahead of time, so I'll be using these 1/8 inch strips that are cut from sugar cube cardstock, and then all of the strips that we just cut in red and 2 blues. So I think we can move our die cut machine out. And I'm going to pull out my Easy Strips map. This is from volume 3. So again, here we have number 1. It doesn't actually say 1 on it, but this was the first one we released. And then we have volume 2 and volume 3. And the pattern that I'm using today is from volume 3. It's this one right up here. Lots of fun patterns in each of these. You can see them a little bit closer if you head to the website and just search for Easy Strips maps, and all of that will be there for you. Let me grab then the other thing we use with the Easy Strips maps to make it easier to adhere. We have our sticky sheets. So these sticky sheets are already pre-cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is the same size as the map. When you apply the sticker sheet, you want to put it on top of the printed part. And then when you remove the backing, you'll still be able to see the pattern that's printed on the paper, which is going to help you align all of your strips. So I'm just going to take one corner. This is how I like to adhere these. Just take one corner and peel it up, and just like this. So I peel the backing off of one little triangle portion of the sticker paper. It's a lot harder if you take that whole backer and take it off and then try to position it over the top of your panel. So this makes it really simple when you just align that top corner with the top corner of your piece. And then you can kind of follow along, making sure that that triangle is aligned at the top and along the side. And when that is in place, then you can simply take this little flap on the back here, and as you pull it down, you follow with your opposite hand and kind of push that into place as you go. And that's going to eliminate things like bubbles or getting it in a spot that you don't want it, because once this is down, it is down. Don't try to peel this up and save this. If you get it in the wrong place or get a bubble, it's going to be difficult to take it off. So that makes it super easy to adhere that sticker sheet. And now we are going to go ahead and peel the backing off. Sometimes I like to do this with a die pick, especially if my nails have gotten long and to the point that I have trouble peeling and picking little things. Depending on the pattern, I will sometimes fold down half of it as I get started up here, And then as I need to reveal more of it, I can just pull that piece down and eventually pull that piece all the way off. But that just keeps my fingers from getting stuck on these lower portions that I'm not yet working on. Then we've got our strips. Okay, so we're gonna do a mix of the red and the two blues. I'm actually gonna pull out the rainbow strips because that doesn't really speak 4th of July to me. So I'm gonna save those for another project, and I'm gonna use the stars and the stripes and the dots instead. Okay, so we are going to start here. Let's just start right here at the top. And I'm just gonna hold that, push it down onto the paper. Now we're going to take our thinner strips, and those are going to fit in these smaller spaces. And as you continue to build, just make sure you're pushing that strip into the strip that you've already placed down to make sure that they are butting up against each other just perfectly. And then we're going to take our other thin strip and go this direction. Okay. So we've got blue. Now let's go to red. And I'm actually going to build one whole side of the pattern, and then I'm going to come back and build the other side. It's a little bit easier to see once you have arranged this in the perfect order that you want. It's easier to see which colors you want to fall in this space over here, and make sure that you don't have like red and blue and blue. Otherwise, it doesn't look quite as varied as I thought was appealing. So we will just continue down this left side here. And then we'll do blue, and I'm also trying to vary the patterns that I'm choosing. So I did the asterisk pattern in the red, and then the polka dot in the lighter blue, and now the stripe in the dark blue. And actually building from this direction is a little easier for me, so I'm just going to turn it. Now we're at blue again, and we'll do blue asterisk since we just did stripe here. Kind of pulling those together. Deb says, I'm not sure what my problem is, but I've put the sticky sheet on the wrong side several times. Yes, it sounds like you found out a way to still use it, but it does make it harder. So yeah, it's kind of hard to think about. I had to think that way with the foiling, where you want to put the pretty side of the foil facing up. I always wanted to put it facing down, thinking that was what was going to stick to the toner. But once you kind of get it in your head, hopefully the same mistake doesn't keep popping up for you. But yeah, just think about it. You see through the sticky sheet to the pattern, so you want to put it on the pattern printed side. Somebody was asking again what color was used for the lighter blue, and that was blue cheese. And the other two colors I'm using are cherry pop and blueberry. And we will eventually need to cut off the edges, the overhang of these, so that we can use them on the opposite side. So now I need blue, and we'll do polka dot in the dark blue. Building patterns and talking at the same time can get kind of difficult because I wonder if I'm doing it in the wrong order. You don't want to mess up the order, especially if you have a rainbow order that you're going with. All right, now we're down to the lighter blue stripe. And white again. And then we've got red. And then dark blue to finish it off. I try to overlap these the least amount I can on one end so that I can just trim that off and throw that part away. And then these will be the pieces that we use again on the opposite side. Okay. Blue. All right, that should be good. So let's take our long blade scissors now and flip this over. You can take a paper trimmer too, but if you're going to use a paper trimmer, just make sure you cover up this exposed adhesive before you put it down on your paper trimmer. Ask me how I know. I have gotten my exposed adhesive stuck to my trimmer before, and it's not pretty. And it's not easy to get up either. Okay, so just trimming along that line of the map. And then I don't want to cut all the way up into these, so I'm going to turn the corner here and cut off the other direction. And then these I am going to just trim off to the side here so that I can scoop them into my garbage can more easily. So there we have half of our pattern finished. Now we're going to come over here and do the other half. We can use these excess pieces, and the way that I like to do that is to take the opposite end, which already has that straight edge on it, and we can use that to fit right into the side. Now, if you're going to use these excess pieces a third time, you would have two ends that have an angled cut on them, and you would have to make them straight in order to push them down into the straight edge here. But that's easy enough to do as well. So don't throw these away just because they have angled edges. But for now, for this purpose, it's easier to just use the opposite end and push that down here. All right, so we've got blue, blue, and now we are going to do red. Let's see what I have here. We could do stripe. I think I'll do polka dot. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Instead of moving back to the light blue, I'm going to go with the dark blue, and I'm going to change my order just slightly so that I don't have what we talked about earlier, the kind of V's of color. So I don't want this one to be light blue because that would be a perfect V of that color. So I'm going to do dark blue instead, and I want to do polka dots. Even though I just did polka dots over here, I think having two stripes in a row, I would not like that. So I'm just kind of choosing as I go. Let's do stripes. Oh, we need the white piece in there. Don't forget your white buffer. Another white. Use up this strip. Fits in there nicely. Go with stars next. Everybody's quiet today. So this weekend we have some fun plans. Our little guy, Henry, is turning 7. So I'm not sure how that happened, but we're having a little party for him on Saturday with all of our family, and hopefully it's nice outside and he gets to enjoy the outdoors. It's his favorite thing is golf, and so we're doing a golf themed party, and I think he's getting lots of golf themed gifts, like little plastic golf clubs and all that kind of fun stuff. Of course, I love party planning, so I've got banners and food signs and water bottle stickers and all the things to make it a special day. Oh, and he gets to have his favorite food, which is mashed potatoes, and we are doing a mashed potato bar. So he will get all the fixings for his mashed potatoes too. I kind of started listing those out, all the things I need to buy for the party, and got to get the cheese, shredded cheese and bacon bits, and of course there will be gravy for those who like gravy on their mashed potatoes, and so that's gonna be our weekend ahead. And then of course we have Memorial Day plans too. May is a big birthday month for our extended families, and so we have a couple other family birthdays. My niece and nephew are celebrating their birthdays on Memorial Day. Then we will get to hang out with them too, so that'll be fun. All right. Lucy, if you are using the stitch die, would you trim off the stitched end so you don't have one stitched and one not stitched? That is a great question, and I can tell you are very detail oriented just by asking that. So it kind of depends on you. I think what I ended up doing here was using both ends of the stitched pieces so that all of my perfect edges are stitched. These ones that hang off of the edge don't have stitching around them, but that doesn't bother me too much. So anything with a straight edge does have a stitch on it. I'm not sure it would bother me if I didn't do stitched edges on all of them. You might really not notice, but that is a good point. If you want to make sure that they're consistent, either cut off your stitched edging so that none of them have stitched edging, or use the stitched end from each of the strips. Yes, Farley's telling me there's a little piece with nothing on it, which I am aware of that. Thanks for pointing that out though. I am going to cut this down. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and so I want to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 so I can layer it on my card base. And so that I can keep the center area perfectly centered on my card, this V that goes down the center, I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of each side. And so I'm hoping that by the time I cut this down, that we are not going to have to worry about those little pieces that I left off of the ends. So here we go, cutting this down 1/8 of an inch on each side. And sometimes you might want to leave it the full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and just adhere it to your card base. So that's an option too. This one, we want 4 by 5 1/4. And this one, I'm just going to take it all off of one end because it really doesn't matter centering wise to have it off of each end. So there we have cut off those little areas in the corner where I didn't have any excess, or I didn't have any strip over the adhesive. And we've got our card panel ready then. Super easy, right? We all love stripping. I always love reading everybody's little jokes about stripping and how this is, the crafter's version, the clean version. Okay, so we're gonna take the Misty again, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I am using the Land That I Love stamp set, and I have the Happy 4th of July. I need to find my little vellum circle that Whitney cut for me ahead of time. She does such a great job of getting me organized, and then it turns into a tornado real fast. Okay, so there's my little vellum circle. I'm using this die set here, which is our Stitched Frame Stacklets 2. It's the second largest circle that has a stitched edge around it. I thought that went nicely with the stitching on the easy strips. And then I cut this out of our circle stacklets, and it will be adhered behind that, that outline die. So we're going to stamp our sentiment here on the vellum piece first. And I'm going to use my powder tool. Well, first I'll get my stamp in place. The great thing with circles is that you really just need to get it centered left to right and top to bottom. And if it's a little crooked, you just turn it when you when you adhere it. So, all right. That looks good. We'll powder our vellum. And for the sentiment, I'm going to stamp again in Versamark, but then I'm going to emboss with our white sparkle embossing powder. So this is a newer product as well. It was an early release at Stamp Joy Virtual this spring, and you can see that it's white embossing powder, but it has a holographic glitter in it. And so it is really pretty, gives a little bit of a silver sparkle to your embossed sentiment or whatever you emboss with it. It's great for party cards, like birthday cards, celebration cards. So I thought it would be fun for this 4th of July card. It would even be fun to do it on the patterns for the Playful Patterns. You could emboss that with the sparkle, white sparkle instead of regular white. We'll do one more time just for good measure. And pull that out. I'm going to need to grab my mini mitts for this one, I think. White sparkle, pour that over the top. Okay, let me grab my mini mitts. If you don't have this little gadget, I love it, especially when you're using a piece that's already been cut down and you need to emboss on it. You don't want to burn your fingers. So we have these little silicone mitts that fit over your fingertips. Perfect. See that pretty sentiment? It has such nice sparkle in person. I know it's hard to capture that on video, but we are going to go ahead and adhere this, center our sentiment up behind there, and adhere the vellum piece behind this strip. And I'll go ahead and do that with my glue press. Get a nice thin line of glue. The vellum sentiment is really going to help kind of diffuse the busyness of the pattern, if that makes sense. So the pattern is pretty busy in the background, and you want your sentiment to stand out as much as possible. I didn't get my sentiment very well centered in there, so I've got one end that has more adhesion to the frame than the other, but I think I figured it out. So there you have the sentiment glued into the back, and this is going to, like I said, diffuse the busyness of the pattern and allow your sentiment to stand out over the top of the fun background. And we're going to pop this up in order to do that. So I've got my foam sticky strips here that are perfect for adhering around circles. They do, obviously, they come straight, but they do form into whatever shape you are using. So especially when you have rounded edges, it can be difficult to foam tape those, but just taking this and kind of forming it around that circular edged frame makes it super easy to pop up this circle with some foam tape. And I did try putting some little embellishments behind this shaker element, make it a shaker element, but I just thought it was too busy. You didn't really get to see much of the shaker bits behind there with all the patterns. So I set that idea aside, but we do have some really great shaker bits in the Memorial Day sale category. We're going to use the white clay stars here in just a little bit, but there's the Bits and Pieces Patriotic Party. Sparkly Stars is in there, and that's one that I use for so many occasions, not just 4th of July, birthdays, and that Sparkly Stars goes in about every shaker card that I make. Okay, so we've got that with the adhesive around the outside of the circle. Now we can just peel off the backing paper and place that down, maybe towards you could center it if you like that. I'm going to place it down towards the bottom third of the card panel, or patterned panel that we created, and just press that into place. Susan, mashed potatoes are your jam too. Oh, Henry would love to have you at his party. So yes, I'm excited to see if he's excited about it. So, all right, we are going to, oh, that's a good question. Rachel asked, what is the difference between white sparkle and diamond? So white sparkle is white. When you emboss with this, you're going to get a white sentiment or pattern, or whatever you're embossing is going to turn out white with glitter in it. Diamond sparkle is going to be clear with glitter in it. So if you wanted a tone-on-tone look with glitter, you could emboss your strips with the diamond embossing powder, and that would be a clear emboss with glitter in it. Hopefully that makes sense, and that's a good question. It is one that people ask often, so I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so I'm going to pull out next my mini mink, and we're going to get this heated up while we talk about what we're doing with this. I love sparkly stars and decided I wanted some foiled stars on this project. So you can see I've got a couple of foiled pieces here. That is our Silver Stars and Sparkle Fun Foil. And the way that I did that was just to take some of these are toner sheets. They come in, these are Deco Foil Toner Sheets, and they come in either the plain back or a self-adhesive backing. So the self-adhesive backing is a little more expensive, but it's great if you want to cut out detailed items that it's nice to already have the adhesive on the back. I'm going to be using the non-adhesive toner paper, and I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off because I don't need a lot of it to make these stars. And then I have a small piece of the Stars and Sparkle foil here, and I'm going to cut that down as well. As we all know, if we do this kind of foiling, the foil is designed to stick to anything that's printed in toner. So this is a full sheet of toner, meaning that this piece of foil is going to stick to the entire piece of the toner paper. I've got my carrier sheet and my foil magic shim, so I'm going to put that piece in there. I'm letting this heat up to a 3. Depending on your machine, you can try a 4. If you're still struggling with getting a good adhesion of the foil to the toner, another thing I would try is I've found that with some machines, a cardstock shim does work to add to your foil magic shim, or to even try replacing it with a cardstock shim and see if that makes any difference for you. I'm not sure why different machines are different. I don't know the inner workings of these machines, but when people have brought them into the studio and had me test and help them work through their foiling, maybe having some issues with not foiling perfectly, that is one of the things we have found, is that some machines do prefer a cardstock shim. You can always try it without a shim. You can try it lots of different ways and see if you can get something to work for you. And I actually brought this up online in the fan group about how it would be so nice to just be able to troubleshoot with everyone. So that is something that I am considering here. If I could book maybe 15 to 30-minute sessions that I do a video call with you, and whatever your issue is, whether you're having trouble with heat embossing, or you are wanting to get better results with your mink, or any number of things that I feel like I see people saying, I can't get this to work for me and I just want to be there in person. And so that's something we're kind of thinking about. We'd love to hear if that's something you would use, if you would want to have a troubleshoot with Taylor session. And it could be for any number of crafty issues that you might be having. You can also try moving this up to a heat setting of 4. I start with a 3, but 4 does work well for a lot of people as well. So we're going to take that piece of foil then and peel it away. You can see here we got perfect adhesion of that foil to the toner piece. And now we can use this basically to die cut whatever you want. So let's just turn this off and move this out of the way. And I am going to get my die cut machine back in here, and I'll be using these Starstruck dies. Starstruck dies are part of the sale category on our Memorial Day sale. So if these are not dies that you have in your collection, great time to add them. I love this die set with the kind of framed stars. You're basically getting 2 stars out of 1 die cut, because you can use that inner piece separately as well. And we're going to use these here and cut out a couple of small stars to use around the sentiment. There we go. So pretty. I've got an extra little piece that I can use to cut more stars, or even balloons would be fun to cut out of this star foil. And I love it. Anna's already named it for me. SOS with Taylor. Okay, I have some that I've already cut. I've got a couple of blueberry stars and one in cherry pop. And then I have these little white clay stars that we'll be using as well. And these are also part of that Memorial Day sale category. This is another one that I use on a lot of things, birthday cards, graduation cards, not just for your patriotic projects. Okay, so let's take this back, and we're gonna go ahead and lay these out around the sentiment. Kind of figure out where I want them to go before I add any glue to my piece. I'll put this one up here in the blue. I'm kind of just following what I already have done on the card that I have, because I know I like that. We'll go over here for this one. Okay, I've got those in place. I'm going to use my Embelly Jelly to pick them up and add some adhesive underneath, and then place them back down. Push them where I want. I think it's time to change my Embelly Jelly. It doesn't want to hold on as long as it usually does. I need to ask Whitney if someone's baking cookies. It smells like chocolate chip cookies right now. Or I'm going crazy. That could be true too. Okay, so now I'm going to add some of those white clay stars. We're going to go in the middle of this star, in the middle of this one, in the middle of this one, and then we're going to do some separate ones up here and down here. And we'll just plop these stars down on the dots of glue. And then we're pretty much done. There we go. There it is. Super fun. Let me see if I've got a card base here. I think maybe we forgot that. So you guys can imagine what this looks like on a sugar cube card base. Here it is, all finished on a sugar cube card base. Again, super fun and easy to do with that pattern. We embossed this on 3 different colors and had a little bit of leftovers that could be used on something else. Another fun thing to do with these strips, especially the leftover ones, is to glue them together and cut out small pieces like a star, and then your star takes on the pattern of the strips, which I think is really fun too. Okay, let me say a proper farewell and get you guys on your way today. Hopefully you learned something new. I hope you're as excited about these playful patterns as I am. I'm excited to start incorporating them into all the things now that we have them available for everyone. So just as a recap, some things that are coming up. We have Heather here on Thursday at Tailored Expressions. We will be going live together. We'll have some announcements for you on Thursday, hopefully. Cross your fingers, we can have those new 32 Olo markers available for purchase, and we have something special for you guys on Thursday. I can't give more away than that, but you will definitely want to watch for the the announcement of how you can be a part of a special group getting a product that's available at a discount. So definitely watch on Thursday. That's 10 a.m. And then we have our Memorial Day sale happening. It started this morning. You can click on the big banner on the Tailored Expressions website that will take you to our curated collection of products that are part of that sale. It is while supplies last, so shop earlier for the best selection. And I will see you guys all on Thursday. Have a wonderful day. And if you have that crazy weather out there, stay safe.